Secretary of Genocide has entered the room.
How embarrassing.
War criminal.
Tens of thousands
War criminal.
What an embarrassment to international law.
Genocide enabler.
The blood of 40,000 Palestinians is on his hands. He is a war criminal. He is a war criminal.
Blinken, you will be remembered as the butcher of Gaza. You will be remembered for murdering innocent Palestinians.
The need for U.S. global leadership and for cooperation with allies and partners has never been greater. The People's Republic of China is pursuing military.
Rafah was 6 years old when Israelis killed her. Rafah was 6 years old. Blinken, you will be remembered as the butcher of Gaza. You will be remembered for murdering innocent Palestinians.
The person, will the officer please remove the person who's making these comments?
As I was saying, the People's Republic of China.
War criminal. He is a war criminal. The blood of 40,000 people is on his hands. The blood of 40,000 Palestinians is on his hands. He is a war criminal. He is a war criminal. Blinken is a war criminal. The blood of 40,000 people is on his hands.
Secretary, you may continue.
The People's Republic of China is pursuing military, economic, and geopolitical preeminence, challenging our vision for a free, open, secure, and prosperous international order. Russia is committing aggression, not only against Ukraine, but against the principles at the heart of the United Nations Charter: sovereignty, territorial integrity, independence, that are the building blocks for global peace and security. In the Middle East, we're standing with Israel in its efforts to ensure that what happened on October 7th never happens again, as we do everything we can to bring an end to the terrible human suffering in Gaza and prevent the conflict from spreading.
I want to get your assessment as to how you see the current situations in light of what just happened at the ICC, as to whether we are on track to continue to negotiate in regards to the hostages and a pause in the hostilities.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look, we see the effort to get a ceasefire and the release of hostages as the best, most effective way forward, both in getting hostages home, in creating an environment in which the people of Gaza can get more of the assistance they so desperately need, and a platform for which to build a more enduring solution that provides genuine security for Israel and meets the needs of the Palestinian people. There's been an extensive effort made in recent months to get that agreement. I think we've come very, very close on a couple of occasions. Qatar, Egypt, others participating in the efforts to do this. We remain at it every single day. I think that there's still a possibility, but it's challenged by a number of events. And I have to say, yes, the extremely wrong-headed decision by the ICC prosecutor yesterday, the shameful equivalence implied between Hamas and the leadership of Israel, I think that only complicates the prospects for getting such an agreement.
Sometimes we don't agree on stuff, but I got to tell you, on the ICC, you got it exactly right. Your characterization of it being shameful equivalence that they have engaged in yesterday is actually stunning.
First of all, thank you for your comments on the ICC recent actions. I think you called it wrong-headed. I would completely agree with the administration's comments on it. It seems to violate common sense that you have a negotiation going on. It could really undermine the resolution of this when you have a terrorist leader like Sinwar being put in, it's sort of equating them to a leader of a duly elected leader who actually has regular elections. But more importantly, we know that Sinwar is doing everything he can to isolate Israel, to put themselves on the same footing. The jurisdictional issues, the challenges we have right now with trying to bring this conflict to a resolution, it seems stunning to me that they would take this action.
No doubt that the people of Gaza, children, women, men, are experiencing an acute humanitarian crisis. And food, water, medicine, shelter, all of these things are in severe short supply. And we've been working every single day as well since October 7th to try to make sure that they could get what they need. And we have impressed upon Israel time and again the imperative of really bringing a determined focus to this, not making it an afterthought in the conduct of the war against Hamas, but an absolute priority. They've taken steps over these many months to open access points, going back to October, to have aid go in, but it has not been sufficient by far to meet the need. We saw much more significant progress over the last month or 6 weeks, particularly in the wake of a phone call between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu in early April, where we saw more access points opening. We saw a land route from Jordan being activated. We saw openings in the north, which was critical because aid to North Gaza was particularly deficient. That's improved. But now we've seen, unfortunately, the reverse. Because of the actions in and around Rafah, we see the critical transit points in the south, Rafah Gate itself, as well as Kerem Shalom, until recently being stopped or disrupted, so that the situation in the south now risks being even more egregious.
On May 7th, President Biden announced his decision to pause the shipment of the 502,000 bombs. And the following day, he drew a red line stating that, quote, if Israel goes into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities. And you, Mr. Secretary, reinforced this point when you said, if Israel launches a major military operation into Rafah, then there are systems we're not going to be supporting and supplying for that operation.
Did the administration offer to provide the locations of senior Hamas leaders to Israel if they didn't invade Rafah?
That's, again, totally misleading and wrong. Here's what we've said, and here's what we're doing. We have said that there is a better way to deal with the challenge that...
I'm not interested in the speech.
If you don't want to hear my answer...
Did you offer the location of senior Hamas officials if they didn't invade Rafah? That's a yes or no. If
we had the locations, of course we'd provide them, irrespective, because there really is a choice, and it's very hard to see it in the midst of this conflict and certainly in the wake of October 7th. But the choice that's increasingly clear is a choice between a path that leads to Israel normalizing its relations with virtually all of its neighbors, something it's sought from its founding, to have countries that actually have its back when it comes to security and the primary threat that it faces, and many of us face, which is from Iran, and to be, again, genuinely integrated into the region, versus a continuation of the course that we're on and it's on, which is endless cycles of violence, destruction, death, and insecurity. But to move down that first path, it requires not only the willingness of the countries in question to normalize relations, but it also requires that there be finally a resolution to the Palestinian question, the realization of a state. That is clearly what these countries need to see and want to see in order to for this to happen. And that's one of the things that we've been working on. The bottom line is this. You've got 5 million Palestinians between the West Bank and Gaza. You've got about 7 million Israeli Jews. Neither is going anywhere. The Palestinians are not going anywhere. The Jews are not going anywhere. There has to be an accommodation. And there has to be an accommodation that respects and fulfills the rights of everyone concerned. It has to be done in a way that has the necessary guarantees for Israel's security. And we are and will be adamant about that.
To watch the entire hearing, visit our website at cspan.org.